And welcome back. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. Our next guest is the founder of One World, an organization working to send the message. We are all a part of the same community. And joining us on the phone, we have Joe Carvin. Joe, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you, Bob. How are you doing today? Happy New Year.
Great. How did you come up with this organization?
Well, at the end of the day, each generation lives a particular challenge, and I think the challenge of our day, of our generations, is to recognize that we share a common fate on a crowded planet.
Right. One World? How did you come up with the name?
Yep, One World. Well, that's actually interesting. It's interesting. We have a very divided political situation today, but there was a book written at the end of World War II called One World by Wendell Willkie, who was the Republican candidate for president against FDR. He lost, and FDR asked him to do a goodwill tour around the world. He did it in 43 days.
Wow.
He came back and wrote a book called One World, and there were actually One World clubs around the world that sprouted up then, but of course we've since forgotten because we're no longer at war.
Cosmopolitanism. Talk about it.
Exactly. Well, that's the sense that all human beings can and do share a single community. And look, we advocate for being good citizens of your school, good citizens of your local community, good citizens of your nation, but we also have a responsibility to the rest of the world as well, and we think you should be good citizens of the world as well. We go to school, we pledge allegiance to the flag every day for 12 years, which is great. We fully support that, but we never pledge allegiance to humanity. We also have responsibilities in that regard as well.
So you're into One World, everybody moving together in the same direction for a common cause.
Correct. I mean, if you look at it today, the real challenges facing humanity, climate change, nuclear proliferation, dramatic advances in technology, artificial intelligence, none of those challenges can be resolved by any single nation state. We have to work together if we're going to take humanity forward and achieve the real potential. We can bring an end to poverty. With technology, if we learn how to use technology well, we can create a new, wonderful civilization without poverty, without famine. We just need to learn how to work together.
Yeah. How do you start? How do you begin to put everybody on the same page?
That's a great question. So we've created an educational program. It's primarily an after-school enrichment program. I'm thrilled to tell you the first time I met with you, we had 20 clubs in 3 countries. We now have over 100 clubs in 10 countries serving 3,000 students.
That's great.
So I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to the public because you've been a big help to us.
So now, instead of just being in the Bronx, it's an international involvement.
Correct. We're 10 countries. In fact, we're just about to organize 2 weeks from today. We're bringing a professor from Harvard University who's the world-leading thought leader on global competence. We're going to have 100 educators from around the world coming to Portchester, New York, to basically think about how we can educate our kids for a 21st century world. How do we give them this essential 21st century skill set, global competence?
Yeah. And you know, the biggest movers of society, Department of Education, church.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And the media. So so we can move crowds in those 3 big ways. And of course, when we talk about media, we're talking about social media also. So how do you get everybody on the same page as far as what do you want the students to know at this point if they're watching for the first time here?
I want them to know that they are the transition generation. Educators are being challenged as never before. They're being asked to prepare students for a world that no one understands, for jobs that do not yet exist. So what we need to do is I need to take my expertise from the old school, the old days, help share those values with our younger generation, and have them help us use social media, use technology to create a brand new, brave world of a world without hunger and poverty.
So social media, well, since that's a big thing, everybody's texting and emailing and iTunes, Twitter, Instagram. They can use that platform, those platforms?
They can use those platforms. Of course, we have a website. It's oneworlduv.com, the word O-N-E, worlduv.com, so they can go to our website and find out how to get involved. But ideally what I'd like them to do is we can start a club at any school in the nation or in the world. So if somebody were interested, I'd love to have them contact me, and we'll set up a club And if they come through you, Bob, there's no cost.
Okay, great. Okay, so how do we set this club up? What do we have to do?
So basically, actually, I'll give you my email. It's
they said
joecarvin@gmail.com.
Yeah.
If they just send me an email, joecarvin@gmail.com, that's JOECARVIN@gmail.com. If they email me, I'll set a club up for them.
Joe,
and it's relatively straightforward. All they have to do is basically we'll send them. The only thing they do is identify a teacher willing to teach the club. And then we provide the curriculum, teacher training, program support, and program evaluation, and to bring them into our global learning community. So then they're going to start learning with and from students from around the world.
That's excellent. You know, whenever you want to do something, they say you have to get the knowledge of what to do, what to say, how to be.
Yeah.
So
no, you're 100% right.
I appreciate you coming on and talking about the wonderful things that you guys are doing at One World.
Well, it's very kind of you to have us, and you've always been a big supporter. So when one of our students becomes president of the United States, hopefully they'll invite us to the inauguration.
There you go. That's thinking big. That's how you have to do that.
Well, look, I don't need to tell you, Bob. Look, the nation's torn apart, and one of the things we try and do, we have 3 foundational values. All human beings share an essential human link. We need new forms of global cooperation, but most importantly, we want to generate respectful conversations.
Absolutely.
No one has a lock on the truth. So we want to generate respectful conversations, and I don't need to tell you that's something that's very much needed in today's world.
It's been a wild ride.
No doubt.
All right.
Exactly.
Any other goals that you want to talk about before we wrap it?
Yeah, the other goal really is to what we're trying to do is help students navigate this technology world. I want them to become future literate. Some of the futures talk about a scenario where you can take your brain and put it in a robot and live forever, and that will happen in 2045.
Whoa!
No, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, Bob, but I do think we should begin to prepare for that, because that's how fast technology is moving.
Prepare before it comes. Prepare before it
So
gets
I want
there.
them to be exactly. I want them to become future literate and globally literate. That's the goal.
Hey, thank you so much, Joe. Joe Carvin, founder One World. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Bob. I appreciate it. Have a nice day.
Talk to you very soon.
Yep.
See when you come back. Come back on the set. All right, we'll take a quick break right here, and stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Open next.